this wedding? Who dares interrupt this sacred ceremony?
Ada, why are you marrying another man when you are already my wife? What did you just say?
The peaceful village of Umoma was waking up. Women swept their compound. Children chased chicken around the dusty road. The smell of fresh akara and pap filled the morning air. At the edge of the village stood a small mud house with an old zinc roof. That was where Ada and her widowed mother, Mama Grace, lived. Life had never been so easy for them. Since Ada's father died, they have been surviving by farming cassava, vegetable, and selling firewood in the markets. Even though they were poor, they were respected. Everyone loved Ada, not because she was beautiful, but because she had good heart. Whenever an old woman needed help carrying water, Ada was there. Whenever children couldn't pay their school fees, Ada gathered them every evening and put them under the big mango tree for free. People often said, if kindness was a person, her name would be Ada. But not everyone was happy for her. Across the road lived Nkechi, the daughter of the richest man in the village. Beautiful, proud, spoilt. She hated how everyone praised Ada. One afternoon, while watching Ada help an old woman carry firewood, Nkechi hissed, "I don't understand why everyone likes that poor girl." Her friend laughed. They like her because she is kind. Nkechi folded her hands. Kindness doesn't buy expensive clothes. Her friend smiled and replied, "But it wins people's hearts." Nkechi rolled her eyes. "We shall see about that." Later that evening, dark cloud covered the sky. Heavy rain began to fall. Ada hurried home from the farm with a basket of cassava on her head. Suddenly, boom! A loud crash came from the road leading into the village. The villagers screamed, "A car has crashed!" Everyone ran towards the scene. A black SUV had crashed into a huge tree, smoke pouring from the engine. Inside sat a young man, unconscious with blood running from his forehead. People stood back in fear. "It might explode. Don't go near it." But Ada didn't think twice. She dropped her basket and ran towards the burning vehicle. "Ada, come back!" someone shouted. Ignoring everyone, she picked a heavy stone and smashed the window. Crash! She unlocked the door and pulled the young man out with all her strength. Just as they rode away from the vehicle, boom! The SUV burst into flames. The villagers screamed, "My God, she saved him!" The young man slowly opened his eyes. The first person he saw was Ada. Before he could speak, he fainted again. The village nurse treated the stranger. Luckily, he only had minor injuries. When he finally woke up the next morning, everyone gathered around him. The village chief smiled. "My son, what is your name?" The young man looked confused. "My name is Uche. Where are you from?" He remained silent for a minute. Then he replied, "Lagos." "What brought you here?" He sighed. "I needed some peace." Nobody asked him further questions. The village chief nodded kindly. "You are welcome here until you recover." Uche smiled. "Thank you," he said. For the next few days, Uche stayed in the village. His damaged vehicle had already been taken away, so he had nowhere to rush to. Ada checked up on him every morning. "How are you feeling today?" "I'm much better." "Are you sure?" He laughed. "If you keep asking every hour, I will recover too quickly." Ada laughed for the first time in days. Soon, they began spending more time together. She showed him the village where children swim after school. She took him to the local market. She introduced him to roasted corn and fresh coconuts. One evening, While watching the sunset by the river, Uche smiled. I have traveled many places, but I've never met people like this. Ada laughed softly. We don't have much, but whatever we have, we share. Uche looked at her, and that's what makes this place rich. Ada smiled shyly. Neither of them noticed that someone was watching from behind a palm tree. Nkechi. Her face hardened. So this stranger likes Ada. She smiled bitterly. Let's see how long that lasts. A week later, Umama celebrated its annual New Yam festival. The village came alive. Traditional dancers performed. Masquerade entertained the crowd. Drums echoed through every corner of the village. Ada looked beautiful in a simple gold wrapper with coral beads. When Uche saw her, he couldn't take his eyes off her. You look, Ada smiled. What? He laughed nervously. I have forgotten how to speak. Ada burst into laughter. You mean I look that funny? No, you look beautiful. Ada looked away blushing. For the first time in years, her heart beat faster. From across the square, Nkechi watched everything. Her jealousy grew stronger. If I can't have him, neither will Ada. She quietly walked away with a dangerous plan forming in her mind. Late that night, while everyone slept, Uche's phone rang. He looked at the screen. His smile disappeared. He walked away before answering. Hello? A worried voice shouted from the other end. Sir, we have been looking for you everywhere. The board members are holding an emergency meeting tomorrow morning. If you don't return immediately, you will lose everything. Uche closed his eyes. I'll be there. He ended the call slowly. Then he looked towards Ada's house. His heart became heavy. But now, I finally found peace. But now, I have to leave. Little did he know, leaving the village the next morning would begin a chain of events that will bring tears, heartbreak, betrayal, and one secret wedding that will shake the entire village. Uche couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking of Ada. He had come to Umoma looking for peace after months of pressure in Lagos. He never imagined he would find a woman who could change his life forever. Before sunrise, he walked quietly to Mama Grace's compound. Ada was already outside sweeping the compound. When she saw him, she smiled. You woke up very early. Uche smiled faintly. I couldn't sleep. Ada immediately noticed the sadness on his face. What's wrong? I need to tell you something. The smile on Ada's face disappeared. The two of them walked to the big mango tree where they always sat. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Uche took a deep breath. Ada, I wasn't completely honest with you. Ada looked worried. What do you mean? My full name is Uche Okafor. I live in Lagos. I am the CEO of my late father's construction company. Ada stared at him in surprise. You, a CEO? Uche nodded. I hid my identity because I wanted to know if anyone could love me without seeing my money. Ada smiled gently. I didn't fall in love with your money. I fell in love with the man who made the village children laugh, the man who respected my mother, and the man who never looked down on poor people. Tears filled Uche's eyes. He held Ada's hand. You are the answer to every prayer I have prayed. Then he removed a simple gold ring from his pocket. Ada, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know one thing. I don't want to lose you. Will you become my wife today? Ada's eyes filled with tears. So soon? I will return to Lagos today, but before I go, I want to leave knowing that you are truly my wife. Ada looked towards the church, then at her mother's house. Finally she nodded. Yes, I will be your wife. That afternoon, inside the small village church, only 4 people were present. The pastor, Mama Grace, Ada and Uche. The pastor smiled. Marriage is not measured by the number of guests. It is measured by the promises made before God. Uche slipped the ring into Ada's finger. I promise to come back for you, no matter what happens. Ada smiled through her tears. I will wait for you. The pastor raised his hands. Now I pronounce you husband and wife. Mama Grace wiped tears from her eyes. My daughter has found true love. Before leaving, Uche handed Ada a small envelope. If anything delays me, open this. She smiled. I will open it when you return. He kissed her forehead. I love you. I love you too. As Uche drove back to Lagos, disaster struck. A trailer lost control on the expressway. To avoid collision, Uche swerved. His SUV crashed into a huge pillar. He was rushed unconscious to a hospital. His phone was destroyed. Meanwhile, days passed in Umuoma. Then weeks. No phone call, no messages, no Uche. The villagers began talking. Nkechi smiled. I told you. He only came to play with the poor village girl. Some people believed her, others laughed at Ada, but Ada never removed her wedding ring. My husband will come back. I know he will. 2 months later, Ada fainted while walking on the farm. The village nurse examined her and smiled. Congratulations, you are expecting a baby. Mama Grace hugged her daughter, but outside, the gossip became worse. She claimed she's married. Where is the husband? Nkechi used every opportunity to humiliate Ada. One day, in the market, she shouted, if your husband truly exists, tell him to come and carry you away. The whole market laughed. Ada walked home in tears. That night, she finally remembered the envelope Uche had given her. With shaking hands, she opened it. Inside were their marriage certificate, a photograph of them in the church, and a handwritten letter. Dear Ada, if you are reading this, something must have delayed me. Please don't believe anyone who says I abandoned you. I will come back, no matter how long it takes. You are my wife, forever. Uche. Ada cried all night. I will wait for you. 3 months later, Uche finally regained consciousness. The doctor smiled. You have been unconscious for weeks. The first words that came out of his mouth were, where is my wife? As soon as he recovered enough to travel, he rushed back to Umoma. But when he arrived, the village square was decorated. People were dancing. A wedding was about to begin. His heart stopped. He looked closely. The bride was Ada. His Ada. Mama Grace had reluctantly agreed to another marriage after pressure from the villagers, most especially Nkechi, reminding her that if she should give birth without a husband, her child would be a bastard and the whole village would keep on making mockery of the child. So, after much pressure, Mama Grace had to advise her daughter Ada to marry an old family friend who was willing to take her as a wife and also accept the pregnancy and the baby as his. Ada refused at first, but after listening to what the villagers keep saying and how Nkechi kept reminding her that the child's father was dead, she reluctantly agreed to remarry. Believing Uche was dead, without wasting another second, Uche jumped out of his SUV. Stop this wedding! The drum stopped. Dancers froze. Everyone turned. Uche walked straight towards Ada. His eyes were filled with tears. Ada, why are you marrying another man when you are already my wife? The whole villagers were shocked. The groom shouted, what nonsense is this? Uche calmly handed the pastor the marriage certificate. The pastor adjusted his glasses. His hands began to shake. He looked at the document, then at Ada, then at the crowd. This certificate is genuine. They were legally married months ago. Silence covered the village. Ada ran into Uche's arm, crying. I knew you would come back. I never stopped waiting. Uche hugged her tightly. I'm sorry. I fought every day to return to you. The groom quietly stepped aside. I can't marry another man's wife. Nkechi tried to sneak away, but one of the women pointed at her. She is the one that spread all the lies. Another shouted. She wanted to destroy Ada's happiness. Ashamed, Nkechi burst into tears. I'm sorry. Ada looked at her for a moment, then smiled. I forgive you, but never let jealousy destroy another person's life. The villagers applauded. Mama Grace thanked God with tears of joy. A few months later, Ada gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Uche built a modern health center and renovated the village primary school in memory of Ada's kindness. The same village that once mocked Ada now celebrated her, and every year on their wedding anniversary, Uche would smile and say, the greatest journey of my life wasn't from Lagos to Umoma. It was the journey that led me to you. Moral lesson. True love is built on trust, patience, and honesty. Words may attract attention, but a kind heart is what creates a lasting home. Thank you for watching. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in true love. See you in the next timeless tale.